Coming up, we have an update on the Molly Tibbetts trial.
And later, the Daily Iowan sat down with Iowa politicians in Washington, D.C. to find out their opinions on the Green New Deal.
Was baseball able to overcome a 2-run deficit in the 8th to beat Bradley?
We'll tell you the answer in sports.
Soak up that sun while you still can, because we've got some more clouds coming our way. Stay tuned for weather.
All that and more coming up on this Wednesday morning edition of DITV.
So don't go anywhere. It all starts right now.
Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Becca Scadden.
And I'm Kaylin Cluck. The trial for Christian Mahina Rivera, the man accused of killing University of Iowa student Molly Tibbetts, will be moved out of Poweshiek County. Rivera is charged with first-degree murder after allegedly abducting and killing Tibbetts last summer. Tibbetts' body was eventually found inside Poweshiek County. The move was requested by Rivera due to the case's publicity and the county's involvement. The trial is set to begin on September 3rd. The move was agreed upon by both the prosecution and defense, but a new location has not been determined at this time.
Washington, D.C. was very busy yesterday with many heavy topics being addressed by our nation's leaders. Of the many issues discussed, one of the most debated was the Green New Deal, which would vow 100% renewable energy, along with promising health care and higher wages. The Daily Iowan spoke with Iowa Representatives Sydney Axne, Chuck Grassley, and Dave Loebsack about their views on the proposal. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley expressed the importance of other countries contributing to cleaner energy.
When are you going to get a plan about global warming? Well, what do you think we've been doing for 30 years? We have our greenhouse gases down to a level where they were in 2005. Now in 2005, I think we were behind Europe. Europe's kind of plateaued now on getting rid of greenhouse gases. We need to keep on doing what we're doing. But we got to get China and India and Indonesia and Brazil and a few other countries to do what we're doing.
Democratic Representative Cindy Axne told the Daily Iowan that she doesn't believe the proposal will bring solid change. Instead, Axne expressed her support for dealing with climate change through specifically targeted laws. Democratic Representative Dave Loebsack would prefer that the Green New Deal be broken down into multiple different policies that are more specifically focused. The Daily Iowan will have more from Washington this week.
And you know, Becca, coming back from spring break this week, I feel like it wasn't that bad since the weather has been so nice.
Thank goodness. Kaylin, I was super worried coming back to Iowa. I know before we left it was pretty cold out there, but it's been not too bad this week. Let's toss over to Abby for more on weather.
Well, guys, you are right. Iowa City has been thriving with the spring weather ever since students started to get back, but you are going to be seeing a little bit more gray as the week goes on. As for the rest of this Wednesday, we're going to have mostly cloudy skies in the afternoon, but a high reaching 65 degrees. And as the night rolls around, we're going to pick up just a few more clouds and see a low around 50. Going into Thursday's forecast, we do see those clouds stick around a little bit with a temperature drop, with the high at 58 and the low at 40 at that night. Friday is going to bring some rain our way just in time for the weekend, with the rain starting early in the day and persisting until night. We also see those temperatures drop a little more, with Friday's high at 50 and the low getting down to 36. Saturday is going to be mostly cloudy with the high at 43 and the low dipping below freezing at 26. But Sunday is going to bring the sun back into the forecast again, with the highs in the mid-40s and the lows in the high 20s. To wrap up this extended forecast, we do see some more partly cloudy skies on Monday, with the high going back up to the lower 50s and the low in the upper 30s. Now we are seeing that drop in temperature with this week and the clouds and the rain, but as long as there's no snow, I think we'll be just fine. Back to you guys at the desk.
3 graduate students here at the UI have found that the key to staying motivated is through support from those around you. Upon entering their graduate programs, students Anna Williams, Lydia Mons-Brees, and Laura Hayes began meeting regularly as a way to help each other through their schoolwork. Now they meet regularly as a women's support group, taking time to focus on encouraging and helping each other through the struggles of school. While the group gives women a place to vent when they are stressed, it also encourages members to look positively at their lives. Hayes believes this is vital to the success of the group, saying, quote, It is so easy to fall into the pattern of I have this one chapter that's taking forever or other stressful conversations. We have to remember that there are things to celebrate, end quote. Members of the support group all agree that the extra encouragement helps keep them motivated and stress-free.
This month, Iowa City Cinema Film Scene is hosting its second annual Women's March event. For 31 days straight, the theater is screening films made exclusively by females. And today's feature happens to be made by one of the newest faculty members of the UI Department of Cinematic Arts. I sat down with Anahita Gazvinizada to discuss her film They. Take a look. It took filmmaker Anahita Gazvinizada 4 to 5 years to complete They, her first full-length feature. The time span seems fitting, however, considering that she wrote, directed, and edited the film herself.
Sustaining that singular vision throughout writing, directing, editing has definitely a lot of advantages. Like, it's really an independent voice that you can convey at the end, but it means a lot of dedication to one project.
But the dedication has paid off. Gazvinizada joined the faculty of the University of Iowa Cinematic Arts Department in the fall of 2018. But before that, They premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in 2017. And tonight, They will be screened at Iowa City's Film Scene as part of the cinema's Women's March programming. The film is a poetic, intimate observation of a 14-year-old called Jay, who's caught between gender identities.
So she said that we can do some tests to see if I'm really a girl or not. What kind of tests?
After taking a puberty-suspending hormone, Jay has one last weekend to decide whether or not to transition. Many of Gazvinizada's films tell stories of young people searching for their true identity.
And it feels like all these characters are on the edge of becoming adults, but not yet.
But in They, this is further challenged by the controversial element of puberty suspension hormones.
There are a lot of ethical, moral, difficult questions around it. For me, the film was trying to pose those questions in a difficult way.
Gazvinizada says she changed greatly over the course of making the film, but she believes if she had made it today, the message of They might be less ambiguous.
Most of the people who watch it feel intimacy and closeness with the main young character. So in some way, that is not a message, but that is what is the anchor of the film. We really feel close to Jay.
Gazvinizada first came to town about 5 years ago to show one of her short films at Film Scene.
And I had no idea one day I'm going to be teaching screenwriting here in Iowa City.
And this time around, it's her longer work that's in the spotlight.
After a few months that I've been here, and I feel connected to the community of people here now, so it's awesome.
The University of Iowa hosted 2 Hawks Don't Hate events this week to discuss stereotypes on campus. Participants at either event were encouraged to share their personal stories with the Hawkeye community and to pledge themselves to the Hawks Don't Hate campaign. These events were held in an effort to educate the community of stereotypes and discrimination on campus. Hawks Don't Hate took place just a few weeks after the Does You Iowa Love Me movement and shares many of the same goals.
And you know, Becca, with the spring weather, it's also the start of baseball season.
And they're off to a good start, it sounds like. We've got Declan and Tanner in the sports studio with more on that.
Yeah, thanks, guys. A big start indeed, Tanner.
Yeah, now that the good weather has finally arrived, so is baseball season.
Yep, Iowa baseball took on Bradley yesterday afternoon at Dwayne Banks Field after coming off a 3-game losing streak against Indiana.
But in the 8th inning, down by 1 with bases loaded, the Hawks rallied as Lorenzo Elon hits one deep, but the outfielder drops the ball and empties the bases. The Hawks were able to get the win at home 4-2.
I will be back in action this weekend when they host Illinois.
Baseball certainly enjoyed the nice spring weather yesterday, and football is going to love it too.
That's right. Yesterday, Kirk Ferentz cracked some jokes about how bad the weather has been lately, but I'm sure they'll enjoy the warmer temps with their spring season kicking off today.
Yeah, with more on what Ferentz said about to expect this spring, we have DITV Sports Director Lucy Rodin standing by in the newsroom. Good morning, Lucy.
Good morning, guys.
Now, Lucy, a few weeks ago, Iowa announced that longtime assistant coach Reese Morgan would be retiring. How is Iowa's hunt for his replacement going?
Obviously, it's not easy. Reese Morgan was a huge part of this program. He was here for 19 years and one of the lead recruiters. But the thing Kirk Ferentz joked about yesterday was Iowa doesn't have much of a D-line right now, so we're not missing a whole lot in Morgan. So there's no huge rush to get that 10th spot filled. So Iowa's really taking their time with this process. But Kirk Ferentz said there is a lot that goes into the process of hiring a new assistant coach.
Had a good meeting with the defensive guys before we left and just kind of laid out some things on paper. I thought they did a really nice job of articulating what's really important for us, basically deal breaker type things, and then things that are, I think, worth considering. And the bottom line, the most important thing, it's like players on your team. You want somebody who's going to fit in with what we're doing. Hopefully offer some new ideas, new perspectives, and what have you. Got an open mind right now in terms of, a veteran coach or a younger guy. I don't think that's necessarily critical. But bottom line, we're just going to try to figure out what the best complement is to what we have already. And we feel pretty comfortable with our defensive system, the way we're doing things. Not that you're not looking to tweak and change things, adjust things, but feel like we have a good thing in place. And so it's somebody who's going to obviously see it kind of the same way we see it, and then hopefully add to the group.
But for Iowa, we're not going to see them in action this spring. They announced yesterday, the athletics department did, that there is not going to be a spring game this year because they have to do a complete turf replacement at Kinnick. So they decided just no practice, no spring game out on Kinnick. They're going to work on fixing this turf, but it won't be the only time we see Iowa football this year. They're still going to have a couple meet and greets and go to Des Moines, but here's what Coach Ferentz had to say about getting the players out in the community despite not having a spring game.
It's most important to get this addressed now, get on it as fast as we can so we don't have any complications in August. And for all the people that were going to come for the spring game, hopefully they'll show up for Kids Day and maybe double the crowd that we usually get there. But that'll be the next time we're out there in the public. But this is not going to be an annual thing. It's just one of those unforeseen circumstances. Moving forward in the springs, we plan to have an open practice, at least one open practice each and every spring. So we'll continue that. And we'll try to find other ways to get our players out to interface a little bit.
Despite the fact that we're not going to have a spring game, we're still going to hear from the assistant coaches and the players over the next couple weeks because spring ball starts today, and we still have a whole lot of questions about what we're going to see from Iowa football this year. The defense is probably the biggest question mark because we've lost so many guys, and how are we going to replace the two-headed monster at tight end with Noah Fant and TJ Hawkinson? But those are all questions we're going to try to get answers to over the next few weeks. Declan and Tanner, back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Lucy Rodine, live in the newsroom.
Come back tomorrow for a look at what to expect from the men's swimming team as they head to NCAAs.
And for updates to see highlights from softball game against Western Illinois. And that's going to do it for us. Guys, back to you at the desk.
A prize-winning pup went missing over the weekend, but don't worry, he's safe back home with his family.
Gale, a 22-month purebred American Staffordshire Terrier, went missing in Atlanta on Sunday after getting separated from her family in the airport. After 3 days of no luck, Gale was found by airport staff and returned to her family. Though Gale's family had begun to feel hopeless as the time passed, they are very grateful to have her back where she belongs.
Thank you for tuning in to this Wednesday morning edition of DITV.
And be sure to head over to dailyiowan.com for all your latest news.
And if that isn't enough of the Daily Iowan for you, be sure to check out our print edition of the news on Stands Now.
For DITV, I'm Kaylin Cluck.
And I'm Becca Scadden. Have a great day, Iowa City. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.